Here with John Smoltz ahead of Game 5. Game 4 last night was insane. Christian Javier, the Astros, combined no-hitter. First off, your thoughts and feelings up here watching it unfold. What were your thoughts last night?
Well, I thought the game plan was flawless. I mean, he didn't deviate, no reason to trick anybody. I thought both him and Vasquez attacked the zone. And when you have a Phillies team that's that good at home, sometimes you shy away from some of the things that make you special, and he didn't. And he said, I'm going to go right after him until they make me change. And that's the way you have to pitch. And so the fastball in the zone, we talked about it. It's hard for hitters to square it up, and he did a great job just maintaining that the entire night.
We talked about it a good bit before yesterday, and it played out perfectly. But you and I talked about the invisible. That fastball he throws seems to not be picked up very well by anybody. And did you see a lot of that last night?
Yeah, he almost can throw uphill. And he has a good spread between his glove and his release point, so it probably creates a little bit of a advantage for him. And the hitter's just not picking it up. When you swing a bat, you try to get on top of the ball or at least catch the ball on the way up. And they were catching the ball most of the time in the catcher's glove, and they weren't doing a good job of being able to recognize that ball had a little extra hop, and that is why he's so special. You know, his numbers don't make a lot of sense, wins-loss, but what makes sense is he doesn't give up many hits, and he didn't give up any hits last night.
The fifth inning is where things unfolded for the Phillies. Did you agree with every decision along the way? I know it's easy in hindsight, but Nola going back out, Alvarado coming in when he did, all good there? Or did you think one decision was a little off?
Yeah, in a perfect world, being a former reliever, you'd like to have just a little room for error coming into the game. Coming in with the bases loaded is a tough gig, and I didn't think that it was a good situation, but it was the only situation that Rob Thompson had given the circumstances of the bases loaded and his big lefty was warming up. It would have been nice to have a base open to come in the game to at least see what you've got. Bases loaded, have no room for error. Of course, he hit the runner and everything, the batter, and everything turned from there. But, you know, these kind of games can turn on a dime because there is little room for the starter to get in and out of trouble. In a regular season game, they would have never taken him out of that game. Yeah. But that's what happens in a postseason. It's kind of over-magnified the situations.
Tonight we get Game 5. It's 2-2. Astros have Justin going. The Phillies have Noah Syndergaard going, and what we assume is probably going to be a bullpen game for them for the most part. Let's start with Justin. How does he bounce back after not a great Game 1, hasn't pitched great as we're accustomed to in the World Series? What are you looking for tonight out of Justin?
I think just fastball command like he had the first 9 batters, like he really had the last 15 of his previous outing, and he just got out of his mechanics. A little key will be whatever you work on in the bullpen to make sure that the release point's consistent, because when his release point's good, there's no chance that hitters can square him up on a consistent basis. So really was kind of a flukish inning where he lost his fastball, which trickled into some other pitches in the zone. And when he's right, he's going to see basically what his previous teammate did. Fastball's top of the zone, fastball's pounding strike. He has every weapon that you could ever want to silence an offense. The difference is they got no hit. Yeah. And so normally you would say, oh man, Justin's pitching, that's not good. But after you don't get a hit the day before, the offense thinks, well, I mean, it's got to get better. We can't get no hit 2 games in a row. So Justin just has to really kind of copycat a little bit with his fastball command in the top of the zone. He's going to be fine.
I haven't talked to him about this, so I'll ask you about it. Are his World Series numbers in his head at all? Does he know about it? Does he care about it?
Well, he wouldn't be human if he didn't think about it and care about it. I think the fact that as a great pitcher, when you're asked questions that are out of your sphere, when you're not normally like that, I think it starts having an accumulative effect. The unfortunate thing is it's not going to define him, but you in the moment want to pick your team up so bad that sometimes you can press internally in a way where things snowball that would never snowball in a regular season. So, it's really easy to say. It's harder to do is to put everything away and pitch one batter at a time. At this time of the year, the narrative goes away. You can't go into a game with all of that on your back trying to unpack. And I think that is the hardest part about postseason. Magnifying glass, everything's magnified. It's not fair one way or the other. And you get too much credit and too much blame. You want to be in a spot where You pitch batter to batter to batter, and at the end of the day, you don't even know what the circumstances are. And that's the kind of game you got to have, and it will not undo everything, but it'll relieve a lot.
Yep. On the other side of things, the Phillies, Noah Syndergaard going. What's a game plan look like for them tonight? Are they looking for Syndergaard to go 5-6 innings, or is it 2-3 innings, pass it to the next guy, pass it to the next guy? What do you do on a night like this?
In a perfect world, if they've got a nice lead, he might get 12 outs, but 10 to 11 outs because of who's batting in the third spot. Alvarez is going to get somebody the second time.
So you don't think Syndergaard sees Alvarez twice?
No. That would have to be a 4 or 5 run lead. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I think for Syndergaard, it's a little unfortunate, but he knows the leash is short. So you just, again, literally take one pitch at a time and try to limit the damage, limit the runners, and pass the baton on in a tie game. Because it's the worst spot to be.
Right.
Like, if you know you're going to start, you're starting for the entirety of the game. At least that was always our mindset. If you know you're only going 3 innings,
right,
sometimes you could really rev the engines and get a little out of yourself knowing, oh, shoot, I'm only going to get this guy once, so let me give him everything I have.
Yeah, Syndergaard hasn't thrown more than 3 innings in over a month now. Last night, obviously, the combined no-no. You've done both. You've started, you've closed in the postseason. What, in your opinion, is more difficult spot to be in? The starter in a high leverage game, or coming in out of the pen in a situation like Ryan Presley did last night with a no-hitter on the line in the World Series?
I think that's just a bonus. Winning the game was the only thing they were thinking about. If that game's 1-0, for sure the no-hitter is like the last thing you think about.
Yeah.
But because it was 5-0, the no-hitter became the story. And so each guy wants to get everybody out, no doubt. But I don't think if they gave up a hit, it was going to let the air out of the balloon. They knew they were going to just get outs to get the game over with so that they could square it up at 2.
So did you find it more pressure-packed to be a starter in the postseason, or that guy opening the door in the 9th inning and coming in with the game on the line?
I think going in the 9th inning, because of all the things that are at stake. I mean, in the regular season, you know you're going to be given 40, 50 to 70 times you're going to come out of that door. But in the postseason, you might get 2. And you got to make it count. So I tasted both, and the adrenaline rush is off the charts coming out of the pen. It's a sustained energy and it's a sustained journey when you're starting. I like the starter better because you control the environment, you set the tone, and if you're going good, you're allowed to, at least in my generation, finish the game.
John, thanks, my friend. I'll see you in Houston.
Got it.